What is up, YouTube? I want to provide a quick summary of the news we have been receiving lately, as they can be pretty easy to miss since they come in form of shorter videos and it would be really easy to just skip one. GGG has announced an expansion that's coming out on March 28th, and I'm gonna play the trailer now, in case you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, you should just watch it again, because it's a banger.
May the prosperity granted to the eternal empire remain forevermore, ensuring our descendants have the means to return to greatness! I hope you're not afraid of a little dirty work.
There it is, Path of Exile Necropolis. We will learn a lot more about it on the reveal stream on March 21st, but let's talk about the things we already do know. I don't think we actually know who this guy with the amazing voice is. I'm assuming he's just the main Necropolis NPC, and we haven't met him before. Unlike the characters at the end of the trailer, who we have had our fair share of interactions. In case you aren't sure who they are, the two ladies are Katarina and Lycia. In front of them are the three Abyssal Liches, whose names I'm not even gonna try to pronounce, and you can normally find them in Abyssal Devs and Delve cities. We have already seen some betrayal rewards in the latest teasers, and I will talk a lot more about that in the next video, so make sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss it. Whether they will also be changing Sanctum, Abyss, or Delve, we have yet to see. I wouldn't be surprised though, as they seem like the mechanics they would want to bring over to PoE too. They specifically confirmed Delve is one of them in the recent interviews. Personally, I feel like Delve is not even in that bad of a spot, it just feels weird to run, because you don't really get to interact with the current League mechanic, or other mechanics for that matter. But a lot of people have been hoping for Delve buffs, so maybe they could happen here? I mean, we can only hope, right? Abyss is currently being used mostly for the +2 projectiles MF farming, but I would be careful about planning to use it in the next league without like any testing in standard beforehand, because considering GGG has already developed a tech to disable the +2 proj working from private leagues on the Abyssal Spires, I do not know if that doesn't imply that they might be looking into changing it in like the map mods as well. We have to see. I mean, I might be just doomsaying here, maybe that is not in the plans, but I would be a little careful about planning around it. GGG also decided to add a bit of quality of life to save the player's hands. So my plan of becoming a carpal tunnel surgeon focused on PoE players is probably not going to work out as well as I expected. While you hold control and left click, you can just spam fusings and jewelers on your items now. This is definitely a welcome change, because in the last few leagues I was getting so annoyed by fusing spams that I actually just ended up using the bench and spending 1500 fusings instead of trying to link it manually. Bulk trading is also getting heavily improved. We will now be able to put all stacks of a certain item straight in the trade window from our inventory. This will make trading bulk currency so much easier, although it looks like the functionality won't be available for stashing, so that part will still remain kinda painful. You get some minor gameplay improvements as well. You can now open breach ends just by running close to them. This is a great change, as farming breach nowadays is pretty much just focusing on the breach ends as much as possible, since the actual mobs don't really drop splinters anymore. And making it easier for us might actually make it enjoyable again. In the last few leagues, every time I farmed breach, I felt like I had to spec the caster master to open chests to not get annoyed by the hands. This will just make it so much better on any build that didn't have access to it. The last quality of life buff I want to talk about is the Pantheon change. This one I'm actually quite excited about, but it probably affects me more than most other people since I reroll very often. Pantheon upgrades are now going to be account-wide within the league, and once you unlock them, they will be available for your alts after you defeat Acton Kitava. You will also be able to toggle them on and off if you are playing a build that cannot run a certain Pantheon upgrade, like for example Self-Chill. Related to this change, I wanted to go on a short rant about an item that I feel like is now even more out of place than it was before. Divine Vessels are pretty much worthless outside of day 1 to 2 of the league, and even during that time they only tend to be a few chaos in trade league, and I feel like they mostly exist to cause annoyance to unlucky SSF players. There's also this outdated recipe that grants you 5 vessels for Divine Orb and 5 random flasks, but It exists from times before the Exalt Divine switch, and it's never worth doing in trade and very hard to justify in SSF. But how would you fix Divine Vessels? Well, I've got a few ideas. Idea number 1 is very simple. Just remove them, and make the Pantheons upgrade when you defeat a boss that was previously needed to be vesseled. This might be a boring change, but it removes the currency that is pretty much just extra bloat nowadays, and nothing of actual value would be lost. Second idea I had is making them repeatably used on maps that have a Pantheon boss, and give a decent bonus to pack size, quantity, or whatever GGG finds justifiable to do. That way you differentiate a subset of maps within the Atlas to feel a little special. But honestly, I don't really think this accomplishes that much. Lastly, the idea that I like the most when thinking about this would be changing them completely so they empower a map boss drastically. I'm talking like 200% boss life, 50% boss damage, or potentially even more. But in return, the map boss would have a huge bonus to quantity and rarity. This could create a new playstyle centered around farming map bosses specifically, especially when combined with other mechanics that make them stronger and more rewarding like Torment, or effects similar that we had in Affliction or Sentinel League. Do you think the suggestions I had for changing Divine Vessels are just stupid, or do they have some merit to them? Would you change them, or would you keep them the way they have been for a while now? I hope you guys are as hyped about Necropolis as I am, and I will see you guys soon again. Bye!